What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning into another edition of On the Road to Victory. I'm your host, Jimmy Smith, and I hope you're all having yourselves a great night. A little bit after 8:30 here. Damn long day for me. I hope you're all enjoying your day, though, like the winds of Narnia out there, a bunch of rain, craziness. Hopefully you're all safe out there. Some wild times, but appreciate you taking the time here. It's draft season, so we're getting excited in these parts. Oh, my sweet baby Lord. Less than 10 days away here. Next Thursday, we will be watching the draft live together. Let's effing go. Looking forward to that, definitely. But we've been going through each position, getting to know what the Eagles got going on at each position, their draft picks, all the, prospects at each position, and then, of course, the top fits for the Eagles at each of them. So we've gone through almost all of them. We got tonight the linebackers. Then, of course, the corners and safeties will be coming, but appreciate you all taking the time, hitting the like button, sharing, subscribing, commenting. You have anything on your mind during this draft season, love to hear from you. Going to try to get back to everyone as much as I can throughout the next couple of days and this weekend. Let's get excited here. But after this series is over, I will give you my pick. I will show you the rookie draft pick, cap hits, all that stuff that you need to know. And, let's get right into this. And we'll start it off with the Eagles picks this year, but also the future as well. I will show you in a second here, but we have 8 picks in this draft. Pick 32, 64, 96, and then a 4th and 4 fifth rounders. You see the one from Houston, one from Cleveland that came from Detroit, and then one from the Commanders. So you know how he's going to be wheeling and dealing with some of these, whether you want to pick up a 6th, 7th round. I'm sure he will do that. Trading all over the place, maybe moves up, moves back. You know how the draft goes is how, things will, be dependent on. But Howie's always looking to, make the right move to make sure this team is, competing and now building that dynasty that we talk about. And, not just the 8 picks this year, but you got 11 next year once you get those 3 compensatory picks. But you've got 8 you could trade and then 7 the following year. So lots of ammo going into this draft. We'll have 26, the next 3 years, but 23 that we can actually, trade with and do things with. So lots of ammo here, ladies and gentlemen. Get excited. And, this position here, the linebacker, Zach Bond got re-signed. Hell yeah. Dean a little banged up. So for me, when we talk about the positions of need here, there's not really much of a need in a lot of places. Depth, a lot of question marks, yes. But linebacker for me is one of those spots that I do feel good once guys are healthy. And I love our linebacking unit, but the depth there, very concerning to me. And it's not concerning. I'm just saying that's where I have a need because you need help there. So whether or not we want to sign someone after free agency, trade for someone, the draft is right here. And, with it being one of the higher ones for me is because you got Trotter Jr., who I'm hopeful for in the future. And I think he's got a bright career ahead of him. I don't care about what they say, the undersized stuff, all that. We talked about him last year. He was one of the pre-draft fits on this show. Excited about his future. So don't sleep on that, where, a lot of people are seeing. I think it was like Mel Kiper, Eagles taking linebacker with our first pick. A lot of intriguing stuff out there. But I think the Eagles do like Dean. They do obviously like Bond. But Dallas Gant was brought in as a reserve future guy. Oren Burks went to the Bengals. Morrow's still a free agent. So I think the plan is to instill a little bit of youth, but you've got Gant and Trotter there. You need some competition. I would expect to see some undrafted guys, some free agents added before, camps begin. So no reason to fret, but definitely something I would go into this draft looking at. And I think there's a lot of talented guys here and not just, at the top. So some of the players I have here, and there's even more than this, but these are my, end of day 3 guys. 7th round, undrafted, and man, a lot of talent here. We're going to talk about a lot of these guys. But some of the guys that weren't my fits, Bam Martin Scott, Sean Dolak, there are definitely, some guys at the end of this list that I think are very talented. Some of these other guys we're going to talk about in a second here. But as we move up, looking at, in my opinion, 5, 6 round, it really, I try to look at how I think the draft's going to play out, but it's such a, crapshoot. But we'll talk about a couple of guys here, and there's definitely some talent that I wish I could talk about every single one of them. I like a lot of these guys, but I try my best to pick out the ones I think would be best fits. And then this is near like the top 10 range then. And these guys, I think that there is definitely a possibility the Eagles could want to use a pick around these areas. I think Kobe King could maybe go fourth, fifth round, maybe even sixth. It just really depends how things play out. But I think there's some talented guys that you don't necessarily have to go to the top. I think Demetrius Knight is a stud. Schlesinger there out of UCLA, Chris Paul, Barrett Carter, Stutzman, even Ismail Mondon. I think there's definitely talented guys here. Not sure if we're going to get any of the top 10. We'll see. And, Jihad Campbell was the one that was, I guess, mocked to the Eagles. Look, I'm not one of those people that says, oh, we don't do this. We've never done this, so we can't do that. I just don't know that this is the position. And it really depends on who is available. When you win the Super Bowl, it's great. And I think, you lost the pieces you knew you would. You already drafted places. You signed guys at places. So I don't think that there's too much to fret about. I know Nakobe Dean is banged up. And, you got to hope that he comes back healthy. But I don't know that they're going to go use their first pick on someone like a Jihad Campbell, who I think, could, if someone wants to take him in the first round, the dude is effing phenomenal. I would love to have him. But I think that a lot of other options, and I'll talk about it when it comes to my pick at pick 32, at the end of the week here. But I just think there's a lot going on, and I'm not sure it's Jihad Campbell. But hey, I think that I do my best to try to pinpoint. I don't know that this year I'll be able to get it, man. I'm going to try to keep the streak alive, but I just think there's so much talent. I'm so lost right now. I've got a few things swirling around, and even for this show. So let's get into the top fits. You tell me your top fits. Maybe there's someone I didn't have on that list. You feel someone should be somewhere else. Whatever's on your mind. Love to hear from you. But I'm going to start it off by talking about some players maybe you're asking why they aren't on the list. We talked about these guys on the last show, the edge guys, Jalen Walker. Maybe, they let him dabble off ball, depending on, what they got going on. But I think he could be a talented edge rusher. He is 6'2", needs to add some weight at that 245. So someone wants to try to use him off ball. Maybe that's how he starts off, some special teams work and, a sub rusher. But I think he's got a future at edge. If you wanted to go that route, I think, Oladejo there out of UCLA, this is a kid, 6'3", 259, but I really feel he is an edge. A lot of these places list guys as certain things. For me, he's an edge, and I'd be happy to have him. He was one of my top fits we talked about. And David Walker, same goes for him. Very talented kid that he could maybe, with his size, there's some concerns, dabble off ball, but I really think he's an edge. So I'm pretty firm in that. And then one of the guys tonight, we didn't talk about him last night because I had left him off, and I'm a moron for that, but Q Robinson. I think, 6'4", 243, add a little bit on to him. I think this kid has a bright future as an edge. And he could dabble a little bit off ball possibly. I think he played a little bit of safety in high school. So he's got a lot of talent, and I really like Q Robinson. I think that if this were the edge show, I would have had him at the top, but I just am a drifter, and the way I have things, I hate that we can't just call people edge or off-ball linebackers, like things that instead there's so many different lists that have so many different things. So things get lost in the sauce. So, it is what it is. But I think that for me, you got a very talented kid here that's got the great, size, length. Seen him listed at 6'5", but, being that former safety, former linebacker, putting him on the edge, I think he'd be a perfect fit, a weapon for Vic Fangio. I just think, off the edge, though, is where he's going to be. I think he's got to add a little bit, get a little bit stronger. So, again, one of those weapons you could use, where you sub-rushing linebacker. There's, ways you can get guys action. And he could help out on special teams because he did that before he was able to shine at Alabama with limited, play time. This past year, he got to, play 9 games, 246 snaps. But I think, there's a lot of talent there. So he got a little overshadowed, but I'd love to have him, dude. I think that this kid is a stud. I would be ecstatic if he is on the Philadelphia Eagles. Now up next, another versatile piece, guy that used to play safety as well, but in college, and he did it well, before they switched him there at Oregon. He played 4 years there. And look, if you look at him, maybe he's a little undersized in your mind. And I get it, but I think, he's a tough dude for his size. And this is a different NFL, man. People are always trying to talk about, oh, he's too small. Look, Nakobe Dean's like 5'11", 230 pounds. So, yeah, man, he can do just fine. And 4'6", 340, he's got some speed to him. This is a guy that I really think that has a bright future. And you can tell he's a former safety. He's got great coverage skills. I think he does well blitzing. This is somebody that I would really enjoy having. He's got that, killer mentality. That is something I'm looking for, and I think he could help you right off the bat on special teams. Now, yes, you're going to want him to get stronger. He's a young kid, and, he doesn't have the biggest size. And I think he got a little banged up at the end of last year, so maybe he falls a little bit. But I think this would be a great fit for the Eagles with that, versatility. These are the kind of guys I'm always looking for. Remember, we talked about Jalix Hunt last year with the edge, just looking for those kind of things. And, how he seems to have that same idea. So I'm all about it, man. And I would be definitely down with getting me some Jeffrey Bassett there. Now, up next, this is some undersized guys, the next few here. But Kane Madrino here. Oh, man. I am a real big fan of this kid. And 6'3", 222 pounds. I think he goes near the end of the draft, even with the 4.46 speed. He had 27 missed tackles. Not great. He is an athletic freak, though. And that is something that is going to help you. And I think that, he's somebody, he played wide receiver, I think, and then he switched to linebacker here. Continue adding weight, continue bulking up. But this dude, he's just one of those heat-seeking missiles. He's one of those guys that, makes plays, dude. Had a couple of interceptions last year. You can see 11 tackles for loss, 4 passes deflected, 3 forced fumbles, 1.5 sacks there. I really think this is one of those projects you get toward the end of the draft, and obviously the Eagles don't have a 6th or 7th rounder, but if you acquire one, or if he doesn't get drafted, go grab this kid, see what Vic Fangio could do. And he's 24 years old, so that's where I kind of feel, guys fall a little bit. I think I would definitely take a shot on him. I would be all for getting Madrino here. Now, up next, I've got Eugene Asante, another 24-year-old. But look, this kid, watching him is so fun. And again, undersized, 6 foot, 223. Add a little bit of weight onto him, though. And like we talked about with Nakobe Dean, man, it's the same thing going on. This is a new NFL, and this dude's got 4.48 speed. And it's not all about speed. But this dude, I just think that he's got great closing speed. This is somebody that, with that quickness, he does really well against the run. He's just kind of I think you got to beef him up. His play strength's got to get up. And I think that, you just got to coach him up. He really would start on special teams. You just kind of hope for the best. But spent a few years at North Carolina before transferring to Auburn. So he's definitely got some experience playing football. But I think you could find him at the end of the draft if he doesn't get drafted. A project piece that I think would be perfect for Vic Fangio's defense. And good in coverage. He just flies around. Go watch him, man. Look him up. He is really fun. And same goes for this next undersized cat, and 6 foot, 221, but he's 22 years old, Nicholas Martin. This is one of those freak athletes, and I'm always looking in that range, right? So this is somebody you can bet your ass. I think that this is one of those missiles we talk about, and he's got scheme versatility. This is somebody that you would be able to play all over. And I think that, yeah, you got to bulk him up. I get it. He's, a little bit smaller, and he didn't have much playing time. He got injured, so he only played in 5 games. So it's really, he would be at the end of the draft there, I would hope. Maybe he goes undrafted. I think that Nicholas Martin, though, just with his freakish athleticism and his combine, what he was able to do, I think that, people will be looking at him. 4.53 40. He's a stud. I really enjoy watching him. So go check him out. That's my number 5 guy here in this top 5. I really just so many of these guys I was excited about. It was hard for me to even pick, who I wanted to talk about. So a lot of talent at the end of this draft. And that's where I'm looking for the Eagles. If you want somebody sooner, I totally get it. Just in my opinion, this is the way I see things going. So that's what we're talking about. Now, Francisco Mauigoa here. Mauigoa. He's 6'2", 233. This mother effer is really fun to watch. And I really think that this is somebody that he's good in coverage as well, and that's something I need. But he's a good damn linebacker. His read and react, he does everything you want to see. He's a good blitzer, got a good football IQ. I just think that this is somebody that, you could use as that sub rusher we talk about, that blitzing linebacker. I really think that, he's 6'2", 233, so he looks a little skinnier. You definitely want to see him, add a little bit. But these are young kids, man, and I think he definitely needs some coaching up. He runs a 4.6 40. He's got some damn good athleticism. He's a freak athlete, dude. He really is. I think this is somebody that I would be really happy to have at the end of the draft if you get one of those picks or he doesn't get drafted. Sign me up. All about it, man. Only 22 years old. But the top three here, man, this was really hard for me because I had each of these guys at number one at some point and just kept moving them around because I couldn't decide. But I really like Lindenberg here, 6'2", 236, 4'7", 140. That's fine with me. Watch this dude play. He is your prototypical linebacker, and his idol, is Luke Kuechly, who, is almost the Terminator of linebackers. So this dude, pre-snap, he's doing everything just like Kuechly did. He's trying to be him. Not saying he is him. I'm just saying. But I've seen he had a 4.6, 240 at one point, but the site I was using, 4.71. So, look, if you watch him, he plays fast. And I think he's somebody that gets side to side, and he is perfect for what you're looking for. He's a good tackler. This is a linebacker, the old school, but he's had some injuries. So that's where I think he could, fall a little bit. His coverage, not exactly the greatest, so a little concerning, but I really think that, he could be coached up, and he's another one of those freak athletes that, dude, you get Vic Fangio with his hands on him, I think this dude could literally be, a starting guy. Now, Nakobe Dean is banged up. We don't know if he'll be ready for the beginning of the season. So maybe you get somebody who you think could be a starter, and I think that could be Cody Lindenberg here out of Minnesota. So if you were able to get him with one of those fifth-round picks, I'm ecstatic, dude. I think this kid would be an effing steal. If you take him earlier or someone else does, I think it'd be rightfully so. I'd be happy if we got him. Someone else before us, I would totally get it. But Lindenberg is a stud. Now, at number two, I literally before the show was like, all right, got to have him number one. Got to have Kobe King. And we just visited with him. So I was like, oh, yeah, that definitely solidifies it. He's got to be my number one, right? But nope, I couldn't do it. And I don't know why, because I really like Kobe King here. And I think this is another one of those guys where you're watching him and you're like, that's a mother effing linebacker. And he's got 4.63 speed, decent in coverage. So that's where I think it's he maybe falls a little bit. Maybe there's some questions. But if you watch him, dude, he is just a beast, man. He is great against the run. He will knock you out, man. We talk about, those missiles. That's one of these dudes. He's got great stack and shed. I just think this is a linebacker that you're looking for. So, he's a leader on that Penn State defense. He did really well. He is great against the run. And just like Lindenberg, he's got a high football IQ, pre-snap. This is a guy that, for the future, I think that he's got a lot of hope here. But he's definitely got a lot of work to do, his footwork. I just think that's why he kind of falls a little bit. And I think people just look at these things and don't think these kids can't be coached up. And, some things you can't. But I think for me, very bright future here for Kobe King. And I'd be really pumped if the Eagles were able to nab him with one of those fifth rounders, maybe our fourth, whatever it is. I think Kobe King has got a bright future here. And I think I had him in my top 10 linebackers. I just think he's being underrated, and I think he'll be a stud. Now, number one, I couldn't believe I saw, and I don't know how I missed it, but I saw right before I was like looking some stuff up, and it said Teddy Buchanan was actually a formal visit with the Eagles. So this dude, someone I'm really excited about. He was first at the combine in vertical with 40-inch. He was first in bench press with 26 reps. And you talk about, these undersized, like, dude, 6'2", 233, that's a good size for today's linebacker, and especially what we Eagles fans are looking for. And he's got a 4.6 40 on him, so he's got some speed too. And I think that this is somebody I'd be running through the wall. So I think the reason I have him number one is because he's better than those other two in coverage. So I kind of just need that. But he can blitz, he can tackle. I think that this is somebody that literally fits everything you want to do. And I think right off the bat, he could help you on special teams. So whether Trotter Jr. starting, if Dean's hurt, this kid has the ability to do so. At one point, I don't know right away, but special teams, where he can help you right away. And I think you bulk this kid up. He's still only 22 years old. He's going to get bigger, badder. And I think that, you work on some coverage things with him, tackling things. I think that this kid is going to be a stud. 114 tackles last year, 45 of them solo, and 871 snaps, 5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 4 passes deflected, 12 tackles for a loss, and 10 missed tackles there. But you notice that trend with a lot of these guys. But you just work on some things. They're young, man. I hate when I see that stuff like, oh, this guy's going to be a bust, this, that. Look, you never know in the right situation what could help for these guys. And I think Vic Fangio and this defense with Bobby King as the linebackers coach, sky's the limit for these dudes. But all I've got for you here tonight, I am truly beat up. Need to go get a shower, get out of these work clothes. Been a long day, but I was excited to get home and make this video, pumped up to finish this video and get into some of this other stuff with the draft almost a week away, baby. So love to hear from you down below, your thoughts on this video, anything else. Go check out all of the offense, quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, offensive line, and yeah, those fullbacks are in there with the running backs as well. We went through the D-line, so we talked about interior defensive linemen, and then a show on the edge guys, now linebackers. We'll get into the secondary here the next few days. Hope to hear from you guys throughout this process. Hope you're getting excited. I know a lot of you start tuning in at this time, and, I appreciate you all. I love that you guys get excited about this stuff. I hope you're ready for another fantastic live stream here this year for the draft. But all I've got for you. So thank you for the like button, the sharing, subscribing, all that stuff you're doing to support the channel. So, hope you have a great rest of your night, a great week. And if you need anything, you can always reach out to me. Always here for you guys as you are for me. But until next time, I am Jimmy Smith, and this is On the Road to Victory. You all stay safe out there. And as always, go Birds!